Welcome to this hilariously twisted love game, where payback comes with a punch of comedy. Today we're diving into Lyubvi Ne Byvayet, a 2024 romantic comedy filled with surprises, pranks, and a whole lot of drama. Let's get into it. It all started with a guy who spent a night with a stranger, thinking it was just a casual fling. But before the woman even woke up, she was already pushing him to leave. At first, he didn't think much of it, until he caught a glimpse of a photo on her dresser. Turns out the woman's husband was not just a boxer, but an award-winning champion. Terrified, he rushed to leave the apartment, afraid he might be caught and knocked out cold. But just as he was about to sneak out, the husband returned home. In a panic, the guy dove under the bed. The woman subtly signaled him to leave, so he carefully crawled toward the door. Just as he reached it, he heard the fight between the couple suddenly go silent. Without waiting another second, he bolted, hearing the furious boxer yelling threats behind him. That night, still shaken, he called a rental agent and asked for a new place far away, in the quiet countryside. But some habits die hard. When he met the attractive real estate agent, his flirtatious side kicked in again. Soon he had moved into the new apartment and, learning from past mistakes, vowed never to visit a stranger's house again. Instead, he started inviting women over to his place, where he felt in control. One morning, after a guest was leaving his apartment, she bumped into his neighbor, Anna. Through a brief conversation, Anna found out that the woman's boyfriend had just moved in next door. Thinking they were a sweet couple, Anna didn't think much of it, until that evening, when she saw another woman knocking on his door. This time, it was a girl he had met just days ago at a bar. Mike, the guy next door, looked annoyed. He scolded the girl for showing up unannounced. But when another woman's voice echoed from inside, she realized she wasn't the only one. Hurt and angry, she turned to leave, and Anna, having witnessed the whole thing, quickly followed her. Anna comforted the girl, revealing her own heartbreak. She had caught her boyfriend cheating 2 months ago and was still struggling with it. Seeing this fresh pain triggered something in her. She decided Mike needed to be taught a lesson. Anna knocked on his door, pretending to be just the curious neighbor. Mike was pleasantly surprised to see someone so beautiful living next door. He lied, saying he was single, and tried to charm her. In his mind, he was already daydreaming about what could happen. Little did he know, Anna was already working on her revenge. While he was still fantasizing, she slipped downstairs and placed a sharp nail right in front of his car tire. Unsurprisingly, his tire burst later, but he had no idea it was sabotage. Later that day, he waited outside her door, pretending to casually bump into her. Using their single status as an excuse, he invited her to dinner. To his surprise, Anna agreed right away. They headed to a nice restaurant, and after a few drinks, Anna jokingly claimed to be a bit of a wild girl, someone who enjoyed playing daring games at the beach. Hearing that, Mike lit up and immediately drove them to the coast. When they arrived, Anna suggested they try something bold: strip down completely and run to the water. Excited by the idea, Mike quickly undressed. But as he turned around expecting Anna to do the same, she casually walked to the driver's seat, jumped in the car, and drove off, leaving him completely stranded and exposed. Mike was stunned and humiliated. He grabbed a nearby road sign to cover himself and started running home. Unfortunately, this strange sight caught the attention of nearby police officers. Thankfully, they helped him get home without further embarrassment. But Mike wasn't done. Furious, he decided to get back at Anna. He bought a power drill online and used it to create unbearable noise through the wall whenever Anna was home. The constant drilling drove her crazy. In return, Anna ordered a wall-mounted speaker that blasted high-pitched, annoying sounds on repeat. Mike thought he was losing his mind. He even went to a doctor, convinced something was wrong with his ears, only to be told everything was fine. That's when he realized Anna was behind all of it. So Mike decided to strike again. One morning, he followed Anna to work, disguised himself as a delivery guy, and sent a mysterious package to her during an important office meeting. Pretending it was something urgent, the receptionist placed it beside Anna. Moments later, Mike pressed a remote button, and the package began vibrating loudly. Her co-workers were startled, and when Anna opened it, she discovered a very personal item inside. She knew instantly it was Mike's doing. Later that day, Mike returned home, thrilled at the thought of embarrassing Anna. But his celebration was short-lived. He got a call from the police. They claimed someone had filed a report accusing him of harassment and told him to turn himself in. Panicking, Mike rushed to the station, thinking one of his flings had filed the complaint. But when he explained everything, the officers told him there had been no such report. "Are you sure someone's not messing with you?" they asked. That's when it hit him. It was Anna again. She had pulled yet another prank. Furious, Mike stormed back home and rang her doorbell. Just as Anna started to take things a little too far, Mike finally stepped in. He told her it was time to stop the back and forth. With only 2 months left on his lease, he promised he'd move out as soon as it ended, and hoped that would be the end of their little war. He walked away, but his words left Anna confused. After everything they'd done to mess with each other, hearing that he was leaving felt sad. Could it be that this strange chaos had turned into something real? Was this what falling in love felt like? From that point on, the prank stopped. Even when they crossed paths in the hallway or ran into each other at the local store, they barely made eye contact. But as neighbors, they kept bumping into each other. And over time, something started to change. They both began to realize maybe they'd actually fallen for each other, but neither had the courage to admit it, not after everything they had done to each other. Anna, who never drank, started going to bars just to distract herself. One night, after only 2 drinks, she got tipsy and knocked on Mike's door. When he answered, she drunkenly asked if he needed company. But to her surprise, Mike politely turned her down. He reminded her that he was moving out soon and didn't want to get tangled up in anything. The next morning, Anna woke up mortified by her behavior. Still, she didn't want Mike to misunderstand, so she worked up the courage to knock on his door and sincerely apologized. Mike, packing to leave, invited Anna to join him for one last dinner, just as 2 neighbors saying goodbye. As they shared their final meal, Anna looked across the table and realized how much Mike actually aligned with what she wanted. But their history was messy. No matter how much she wanted him to stay, she just couldn't bring herself to ask. As fate would have it, that same night, Mike ended up at a bar again. And guess who he ran into? Anna, drowning her thoughts in a drink. Fueled by the moment, they decided to let go. Just for one night, they danced, they laughed, they drank too much, and eventually, they went home together. The next morning, they acted like nothing happened. Just a casual hello, like 2 strangers sharing a weird dream. Mike then called the movers and got ready to leave. Before heading out, he stood in front of Anna's door, hesitant, but he couldn't bring himself to ring the bell. Inside, Anna felt the same. She missed him already, but didn't know what to say or how to say it. Days passed. She couldn't stop thinking about him. She finally decided to visit him one last time, only to find a new woman answering the door. The woman explained that Mike had moved out quietly without saying goodbye. Anna felt an emptiness she didn't expect. Somehow, Mike had become more important to her than she ever realized. She thought about calling him, but just didn't have the courage. Meanwhile, Mike, just like her, couldn't stop thinking about Anna either. He would park his car nearby and secretly watch her, just to make sure she was okay. Even a glimpse of her brought him peace. One night at the bar, just like always, Mike sat alone. But this time, a cheerful woman came up to him and started a conversation. She was charming, but Mike gently turned her down. He told her he already had someone in his heart, and no one else could take her place. The next morning, that woman, Anna's best friend, rushed over to tell her about the guy she'd met. She was amazed by his loyalty. Anna listened closely, and then it hit her. It was Mike. Her heart raced. On her way back home, she made up her mind. It was time to tell him how she truly felt. What she didn't know was that Mike, too, had been struggling with the same feelings. And just as she was ready to confess, he was preparing to do the same. When they finally met again, words weren't even needed. The person they loved had been right there all along, and they felt the same way. They confessed their feelings at the same time. And just like that, the love story that began with chaos ended in perfect harmony. And that's the end of Lyubvi Ne Byvayet, a messy, hilarious, and surprisingly heartfelt ride. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, drop a comment sharing your favorite moment, and hit that subscribe button for more amazing movie recaps like this. See you in the next one.